SHC's origin year 8100. One is forced to speculate, might we be looking not just at extraterrestrials, but time travelers from the future? And if that's the case, why did they come here?
In the distant future, the human race is dying out. Well, how do you...
Maybe you go back in time and essentially rape eggs, DNA, cells as a means to try and beef up the species in the future. But by doing that, you present yourself as extraterrestrials so that people of today won't actually know who they are.
That an alien hybridization project is a benefit to both the extraterrestrials and their human subjects because they are, in fact, all in the same. And are future humans posing as aliens to harvest valuable genetic material in order to take that material back with them and ensure humanity's future. Beijing, China, November 5th, 2017. During a video presentation at the Tencent We Summit, Stephen Hawking warned that to ensure we survive the human race, we must work to develop the means to leave planet Earth. Much of the speculation regarding the purpose behind a possible alien hybridization project has to do with extraterrestrials trying to find a way to live on Earth, only that the goal is in fact the exact
哇，
opposite.
真的是鸡妈呀，真的。
Being genetically altered in preparation
修东西
for
更深出
future
来，
existence
真
on
的是
another
鸡巴呀。
planet. We're constantly discovering new ancestors to humans. Just when we think we've got it all figured out and who our early ancestors are, they find somebody new. And you have to wonder, just why are there so many different ancestors of humans? And are we being genetically engineered, ultimately, until the perfect vehicle that the extraterrestrials want has been created? So in theory, then, we'll be ready to be a spacefaring race, ready to go into the stars, to return to the stars, and to join these other extraterrestrial races that are watching us right now. If you were to ask me what does Project Hybrid mean to me, I would secret clandestine program that's revolves around the physical manipulation of
好难的鸡巴呀！
not just recent times, but potentially
extraterrestrial actually made an incision and took out DNA. Now that is something that has come across through my work. Some of them seem to be very scientific, and they want to understand how human bodies work and what our physiology is like. In many of the regressions I've done, it turns out that the ETs are creating hybrids for their own purposes.
If extraterrestrials are extracting genetic material from humans and experimenting with alien human hybrids, what might their purpose be? Is it to benefit the aliens, humanity, or could it be both? Berkeley, California, 2013. An international team of anthropologists and geneticists at UC Berkeley discovered that between 1.5 and 2.1% of the genomes of modern non-Africans can be traced to a hominid that lived alongside humans, Neanderthals. The finding provides proof that early humans came into contact with Neanderthals and even interbred with them. But one thing scientists are still unable to explain is why humans survived and Neanderthals, who were in many ways a superior species, did not.
One of the biggest mysteries about Neanderthal man is how and why they became extinct. They were very strong, robust, intelligent people, not the sort of cartoon image of so-called cavemen.
The space for their brain in their head is bigger than ours. And they know from pollen that they put flowers on their graves. That meant they had compassion.
Neanderthals not only had much larger brains, but also their bodies. I mean, they were walking refrigerators. They were as strong as you can imagine. So what made the difference here? Extraterrestrials. If, as many alleged alien abductees have testified, extraterrestrials are performing genetic experiments on humans for their own benefit, could they have favored Homo sapiens over Homo neanderthalensis because it was a species more compatible with their own? Or did they create numerous hominids, and humans represent the most favorable parts of each of them? In either case, two important questions remain. Is this process still underway? And if so, what is the ultimate objective?
One theory is that they are a dying race, and that by harvesting genetic material from humans, they are injecting into their own genome some new genetic material which will help save them. Another related theory is, let's take human DNA, let's take alien DNA, and let's create something even better. When we hybridize something, we do so to gain a benefit. We take a particular line and we breed, and we gradually get a stronger, faster, better racehorse. Extraterrestrials are effectively doing the same thing to us as a species.
Theories abound as to the purpose behind a possible alien hybridization project. But is it all mere speculation? Some ancient astronaut theorists believe the ultimate evidence that an alien hybridization project is, in fact, underway, and clues as to the true motives behind it, can be found by examining an incredible UFO encounter reported by members of the U.S. Air Force. Rendlesham Forest, Suffolk County, England. December 26, 1980. A glowing craft is reported near an airbase leased to the United States Air Force by the RAF. Two U.S. servicemen are dispatched to the site to investigate what they believe could be a possible downed aircraft. When they arrived,
testimony is that he touched the side of the UFO and received a sort of telepathic download of ones and zeros that he then wrote down in his police notebook. Years later, a computer programmer took this information, ran it through a translation program, and a message emerged. The message read as follows: exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance, eyes of your eyes, origin year 8100. There was also a series of latitudinal and longitudinal coordinates that matched up with locations such as the Great Pyramid, the Temple of Apollo at Naxos, the Nazca Lines in Peru, Sedona in Arizona, all around the world. Sites of great sacred significance. So Jim Penniston came up with all this information without knowing a thing in real life about binary code. When one sees origin year 8100, one is forced to speculate, might we be looking not just at extraterrestrials, but time travelers from the future? And if that's the case, why did they come here?
In the distant future, the human race is dying out. Well, how do you save the human race? Maybe you go back in time and essentially reap eggs, DNA, cells as a means to try and beef up the species in the future. But by doing that, you present yourself as extraterrestrials so that the people of today won't actually know who they really are.
Is it possible that an alien hybridization project is a benefit to both the extraterrestrials and their human subjects because they are, in fact, one and the same? And are future humans posing as aliens to harvest valuable genetic material in order to take that material back with them and ensure humanity's future? November 5th, 2017. During a video presentation at the Tencent Wii Summit, Stephen Hawking warns that in order to ensure the survival of the human race, we must work to develop the means to leave planet Earth. While much of the speculation regarding the purpose behind a possible alien hybridization project has to do with extraterrestrials trying to find a way to live on Earth, could it be that the goal is in fact the exact opposite? Are humans being genetically altered in preparation for a future existence on another planet?
We're constantly discovering new ancestors to humans. Just when we think we've got it all figured out and who our early ancestors are, they find somebody new. And you have to wonder, just why are there so many different ancestors of humans? And are we being genetically engineered, ultimately, until the perfect vehicle that the extraterrestrials want has been created? So in theory, then, we'll be ready to be a spacefaring race, ready to go into the stars, to return to the stars, and to join these other extraterrestrial races that are watching us right now.
If you were to ask me, what does Project Hybrid mean to me, I would kind of view it as like an ongoing, secret, clandestine program that revolves around the physical manipulation of the human race, going back not just recent times, but potentially millions of years ago.
There are some who have suggested that between 15 and 30% of present-day humans allegedly are hybrids. What I am saying is that all of us already are hybrids. Homo sapiens sapiens would not exist without the artificial mutation of our genes by extraterrestrials. So we already are the hybrids, and perhaps more hybrids are being created right now in order to continue this extraterrestrial evolution.
Has human evolution been merely the product of natural selection, as mainstream scientists and anthropologists believe? Or have we benefited from extraterrestrial engineering? As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, the answer is a profound yes. And they believe that not only have humans been genetically altered in an effort to ensure our survival, but that our evolution has been accelerated so that we will be able to join with our alien ancestors and begin our journey to the stars in the not-too-distant future.
Life in these parallel universes is like a ghost or a spirit, an angel.
And that alien contact often happens without our knowledge.
It exists beyond the visible spectrum. So the fact that we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
And leaving no trace.
Maybe we're not really dealing with extraterrestrials from outer space, but ultra-terrestrials coming from parallel space. There is a doorway in the universe. Beyond it is the promise of truth. It demands we question everything we have ever been taught. The evidence is all around us. The future is right before our eyes. We are not alone. We have never been alone. National Forest, Burke County, North Carolina. As darkness descends on the Brown Mountains, strange glowing orbs materialize on the horizon. They hover over the range for a few seconds at a time, and then mysteriously vanish.
The Brown Mountain Lights have been observed for centuries. There are Indian accounts as early as the 13th century. Back in the antebellum days, some plantation owner was hunting there, disappeared. Some of the people from his plantation, slaves we would presume, went looking for him. They disappeared, never explained. But that night, these lights were seen.
For decades, these lights have been talked about, studied, and no one is sure exactly what causes these lights. There are many theories about them, but nobody really knows for sure.
There's the very curious story of a person named Ralph Lea, who claimed that he was following the Brown Mountain Light one night, and that it led him into a secret cave full of crystals. And a booming voice then told him about extraterrestrials, and that they have the technology to go from one dimension to another, to appear and disappear.
Extraterrestrials appearing and disappearing, moving between dimensions. While it may sound like a fanciful story, the Brown Mountain Lights have confounded attempts at conventional explanation for centuries. And this phenomenon, while baffling, is not entirely unique.
All over the world, there are these anomalous lights. One of the most famous is the Marfa Lights in West Texas. There's an area of the Mekong River between Thailand and Laos where lights appear on the river every spring, and it's a well-known phenomenon in that area. We have these conversely, they're helping them get back to shore.
Incredible occurrences of mysterious lights that appear to be intelligently directed, as if they're alive. And people have the sense that they're coming from somewhere else, coming from other planets, and perhaps even other dimensions. When these lights are seen, in my opinion, it's the result of a technological process. Some type of technology is involved, and that technology would have to be extraterrestrial. Could there really be an alien connection to these seemingly intangible orbs, often referred to as ghost lights? Might they offer a brief glimpse into other worlds, possibly within other dimensions beyond our reality? Are they extraterrestrial from another planet? Were they ultra-dimensional from a different dimension? Well, it depends who you ask. But the one thing that all held in common was there is a greater reality in which we exist. In the modern world, there is an invisible sea of wireless data. Radio waves, microwaves, and various other frequencies exist everywhere that go unseen. And in fact, what humans are able to perceive with the naked eye is extremely limited.
The human visible spectrum goes only from 380 to 770 nanometers. This means that humans are only capable of perceiving 1 octave of light of this entire spectrum. The fact that we cannot see the rest of the spectrum does not mean it's not there.
Technology has enabled humankind to become aware of much that cannot be perceived with the 5 senses. But could there be far more that exists, even outside the range of humanity's most sophisticated technology? Perhaps even hidden dimensions and alternate universes that exist right next to our own. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and point to cutting-edge scientific research that may have located proof of these alternate, unseen worlds. Pasadena, California. October 2015. A team of scientists at the California Institute of Technology utilizes data collected by the powerful Planck Satellite Telescope to examine physical evidence of the Big Bang. To their astonishment, they also discover evidence of so-called hotspots, places where our universe could actually be coming into contact with others.
Picture 2 balloons being blown up really close together, and they happen to touch or bounce off each other, or even just come very... That will leave an imprint in our universe that will show up in this cosmic microwave background signal.
This raises the question, would we perceive other dimensions and other universes with other dimensionalities? This also raises the question of whether life and intelligence could exist in these parallel universes. And would we perceive this as like a ghost or a spirit, an angel? When we think of the Brown Mountain Lights, it's quite possible that they are interdimensional or even from another universe, and it makes you wonder, what other unseen energies are everywhere that we're unaware of and can't detect?
Could the Brown Mountain Lights actually be emanating from a parallel universe? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and they suggest that intimate knowledge of these inhabited worlds can be found in the world's most sacred texts. Seaford, New York, February 1958. In a relatively unassuming suburban ranch home, an unseen force begins to terrorize the Herman family. Screwjobs mysteriously pop off bodies. Objects fly across the room. Furniture topples over.
After this phenomenon went on for several weeks, the hermits became confused, perhaps even a little bit frightened. They reported the phenomena to the police department. A couple of police detectives came over.
A psychological investigation would look into the family dynamics. Is there something happening at this particular point in their journey that causes distress they are not aware of, so that the physical vibrations would affect their surroundings?
Eventually, the parapsychology lab at Duke University came in to investigate the case. The Duke lab talked about poltergeist phenomena as possibly the release of emotional energy, particularly from adolescents or young children or kids going through puberty. The idea being that they were confused, they didn't know what was happening to their bodies, they had emotional energy and trauma. They were operating under the assumption that the poltergeist phenomena was due to telekinetic energy being released by the young boy in the family.
These things were seen by a whole group of people. Even some of the experts saw the phenomenon. Can this be something from another dimension? Is this a group hallucination? Are they somehow channeling the sighting to each other? The psychic expert said it's all about some girl. So she watched the girl to see if somehow what's happening when she was there. But it didn't really pan out. So it didn't follow classic lines, and yet there were lots of witnesses, experts, and no explanation was ever found. Years later, Steven Spielberg wove the tale into a fine movie that was a big poltergeist.
If this poltergeist event was not simply the result of telekinetic energy, as some investigators suspected, then what can explain it? Was the Herman family really haunted by ghosts? Or could they've encountered an entity from another dimension?
We know science has been able to measure all sorts of invisible things. The electromagnetic field, the heat signature of objects and people. So the fact that we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Any contact that we have with an interdimensional being is actually happening beyond our normal visual spectrum. There is no question in my mind that there is more than one species right here on the Earth that is operating within different frequency ranges. That's why we don't really see them. Most of our extraterrestrial encounters are interdimensional. These beings are not coming from far away. They are actually within our human plane, only existing in another dimension. And all we're doing is crossing from one dimension to another within this earthly reality. It doesn't mean that all extraterrestrial encounter is interdimensional. In fact, I believe it's both.
Could the Herman poltergeist and others like it have been caused by beings from another dimension? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that such an audacious concept is possible, and believe this could also help explain the existence of everything from so-called ghosts to angels and demons. For their proof, they point to a particular phrase found in multiple religious texts. A phrase in the Hebrew Talmud, as well as the Quran, which details the existence of 7 levels of heaven and earth.
What are the 7 levels of heaven? Some associate them with the different planets of our solar system, but others refer to them as being parallel dimensions. So when we speak of the other worlds, which people have interacted with throughout the centuries, maybe we're not really dealing with extraterrestrials from outer space, but ultra-terrestrials coming from parallel space.
Could it be that what are commonly understood to be ghosts are not spirits of the deceased, but entities from other dimensions that, while able to manipulate things in our world, cannot be fully perceived by humans? Jabal an-Nur, 6 miles north of Mecca, Saudi Arabia. 602 AD. While in deep meditation within the Hira cave, the Prophet Muhammad is visited by an otherworldly messenger, the Archangel Gabriel.
Muhammad was meditating in a cave when suddenly, as if out of nowhere, the Archangel Gabriel manifested. In the Quran, they describe Gabriel as standing on or between horizons. This is a tip-off that we're dealing with an interdimensional being. Because in ancient texts, it means that they had the ability to phase in between dimensions, to take on a physical form and then to revert back to their light body form.
According to the Islamic tradition, Gabriel provided Muhammad revelations direct from Allah. These teachings would inform the Quran and become the basis for the Muslim faith, the second largest religion in the world. Might it really be that the messenger Gabriel was an interdimensional being from an unseen realm, here to assist humankind?
Here we have